What's the most important thing in our commitment to God? Is it the study of His Torah, as we're doing now? Or is it the fulfillment of the commandments? Now, of course, in a sense, this is hypothetical because we need to do it all. We need to study Torah. We need to fulfill the commandments. Absolutely. But is there a distinction? Is there such a thing as a hierarchy? Or perhaps everything, there's just an equality. So the truth is we need to delve into it to understand the distinctions. Welcome to Tanya today. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zich and Kadesh in Montreal, Canada, where it's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. So there's a phrase in this 19th letter that we're learning from Igeres HaKodesh, from the Holy Letters of the Alter Rebbe, that God garbs his light. There's the light of God, and then there is the garb, the garment that is covering it. What does that mean? How do we understand that? Divine wisdom of God, there's an inner dimension to it, an external dimension. There is the light itself and the garbing of the light. The light itself is the inner dimension, or more rightfully said, the inner light, as all light, is attached to its source, cleaves to its source. So the inner light is the way it's attached to its source. And then there is the handle that you have on something, the way it is external, the way it expresses itself, as garments express an individual. So God's divine wisdom, his Torah, we have the two different dimensions. The inner light is the Pnimis Torah, the inner teachings of Torah. They're not about the do's and the don'ts, they're about how this light is an attachment to God. Because the divine wisdom of God is one with the emanator, with God himself. So there's an emanation of God, and the source of that emanation, the infinite of God, the emanator. So that divine wisdom is one with. That's expressed in Torah teachings of Hasidic teachings, that they bring out the oneness of God. Then you have the garment of Torah teachings, which is the divine wisdom, the way it expresses itself, the externality of it, the way it kind of drips down, if you will. I don't know if that's the right term. Well, that's a term that's used, the way it comes, not the inner core and essence of the way it's bound up with the infinite, but the way now it expresses itself in like a drip and a drop, which means specification, detail, the do's and the don'ts. So there's that divine wisdom that vests itself in our physical Torah that gives expression, but the ultimate in the observance of the 365 prohibitions of the Torah and 248 positive commandments of the Torah that need to be done in actual deed. As in the spirit of what the verse says in Deuteronomy, Hayom Laseisim, today is about doing it. Just do it. Just do the mitzvah, which is, again, doing the mitzvah is the external garment that garbs the inner light, and it expresses itself as garments express in the do's and the don'ts of the Torah, in the details of them. And with this, then we can understand what our sages say: great is the study of Torah. Why is it great? What is so great about it? Because it leads us to the performance of the mitzvah. That's the aspect of the study of Torah and the do's and the don'ts, the external garment that leads you to the performance. And someone who learns with the intent and not of doing the mitzvah, better that they were not born. Because that's the whole point, is that. That's the whole point, is to bring you to the act of doing the mitzvah. And indeed, if we didn't fulfill that, the mitzvahs here, maybe we learned about it, but we didn't bring it to action and fulfill it, that's the concept of reincarnation in Jewish teachings. Reincarnation meaning that we have not fulfilled the do's and the don'ts that is incumbent upon us. Therefore, the soul needs to return in order to be able to fulfill and observe all 613 commandments as is taught by the Arizal. Right. Now, that's what we have today. But when in times of Mashiach, we'll have the inner light revealed. Now we have the garment that is hiding that inner light in some manner. Right? In other words, the do's and the don'ts that we have in Torah teachings, you can get very detailed in them, and we need to in order to fulfill them appropriately. But inside of that garment of the external aspect of the divine wisdom that leads to action is the inner light that God garbs himself with, which is the teachings of Chassidus. That inner light, as light is bound up with its source, so the inner divine wisdom in the world of Atzilus, in the world of emanation, is bound up with the emanator in an infinite manner, or infinite of God. And that it will be revealed in times of Mashiach. That infinite light of God, not merely the garment, but the inner light of the divine wisdom and how it's one with Hashem. Now we get a foretaste of it. That's what we have today, because so we know that on the times of Mashiach are considered like the days of Shabbos. The days will all be Shabbos. In other words, on Shabbos we have a greater sense of presence of the divine. And those will be days full of Shabbos where we'll have a real sense of presence of the divine. So on the eve of Shabbos, you have to prepare. Because if you don't prepare for Shabbos, then, hey, what are you going to eat? What are you can consume? What are you going to take in to your life if you don't prepare? So we prepare on the eve of Shabbos on Friday. So we are now on the Friday afternoon, after midday, in preparation for a day that is completely Shabbos, times of Messianic era, which means the infinite light of God, that inner light that is being garbed, will be completely revealed. And we will see how that we are not just see, but we will experience and see how we can be connected to God in an infinite manner, infinite light, and in everything that we learn of Torah and everything that we do of mitzvahs. It all become very pronounced, very clear. And may that light shine upon us today. Mashiach now. Any questions on that? Well, I don't see any questions. I hope that was clear. All right. We're going to go into Rambam now. Thank you, folks. Rabbi Ronnie Fine coming to you from Chabad Zurich and Montreal, Canada, where it's a privilege. And